Hey guys, Tomboy601, and today I wanted to upgrade my face cam. It's been something I've been wanting to do lately to expand my abilities, expand what kind of content I'm able to make on this channel. So, I bought a new camera, or I should say, two new cameras. That's right. Well, today what we're going to do is compare two of the lowest quality open box returns from Amazon. See if that's a way you can save yourself some money. The camera we went with here, the Sony ZV-1, is a little expensive, $748. What? Which, yeah, and it is a bit nicer than the GoPro I've been using for the last couple of years. Autofocus, good mic input, HDMI out, all the things you kind of want in a vlogging camera, but like I said, kind of a big cost at $748. We were actually able to pick up both of these for $410.69. How? Well, it was open box returns. And if you don't know what open box returns are, when an item gets returned at one of those big box stores, they have a decision to make. They can do kind of one of four things. If the item was never opened in the first place, they can just throw it back on the shelf. If it was returned because it was defective, they could try to send it back to the manufacturer to get some money back on the device. If they're feeling particularly charitable, they could donate whatever the thing is to like a thrift store, where then the thrift store could then profit off of it and donate to whatever charity it benefits or behooves. Or number four, they put up the item that got returned for clearance. Sometimes they choose to liquidate it. For Amazon, how that happens is they bundle it all up into a pallet. I'm sure you've seen those pallet auction videos up there. What happens with those is basically Amazon writes the seller of whatever the device is a check of about 5 to 10% of the value of the original item, and they kind of go their separate ways. The other side of that equation is the grading system, and what that means is the seller believes the item is still worth it enough to pay someone like Amazon or a person to look at the item, inspect the item, and give the item a grade to then resell it. Amazon grades items in 4 different categories, or 4 different ways: like new, very good, good, and the last one, acceptable, with both of our cameras today being deemed acceptable. Now, one thing to note, one of them has a bit of a note attached to it. It says, used acceptable, cosmetic imperfections bigger than 1 inch on the front of the camera body, cosmetic imperfections bigger than 1 inch on the back of the camera body, cosmetic imperfections bigger than 1 inch on the bottom, top, or sides of the camera body. Item will come in original packaging. Packaging may be damaged. And then the other one just has a note of being acceptable. So all in all, I think we should have an interesting go of what's inside these boxes. I haven't looked in them yet, so with all that said, let's dig in and see if these things are readily broken. And if they're not broken, let's then test them and see if we got ourselves a good deal and we'll be keeping one of these cameras. Okay, so round one, I think this is, of the two, this is the more damaged box. So I'm going to assume it is the one that has the notation that we were going over in the beginning. Let's go ahead and open that up. Everything looks nice. Let's open that. Okay. Here is our camera. It doesn't, I don't see any marks on it. Okay, that looks good. That all looks fine and dandy. Let's see what's in the accessories. We have the windsock that comes with it, the battery, and a charger. Wow, that's pretty much everything that should have come with it. Seems pretty good. Let's go ahead and get that battery in. It definitely all works still. Okay, camera number 2. Let's dive on into this one, see if it has anything clearly broken about it. But so far, these feel pretty dang good. So we have our manual. Ooh, this one comes in a sock that, or paper sleeve. It has been opened, but looking around it now, everything looks brand new. So once again, I don't think this has really been opened either. Let's look at those accessories. Oh, are we missing the windsock? So this time battery is coming in its own little protective sleeve. There we go. And is this the windsock, or are we missing that? Or did they like gerrymander one together? Because I don't feel like Sony would put this in a deposit bag type thing. You know what I mean? Like, but hey, that's the little windsock. That's the charging cable. Let's see. Do we power on? Enters right on in. Okay. Wow. So, was not expecting both of the cameras to be in such good, at least cosmetic shape. Now, cosmetic condition isn't everything. We do need to sort of test out the cameras, test everything we plan on using on them. And to do that, we're going to run it through a pretty simple test regime. First thing we're going to do, plug it in, make sure the lights turn on, make sure it charges correctly. Then we are also going to hook it up to the HDMI, make sure that output HDMI works well. The reason we're doing this is, well, we're planning on using this as our primary face cam. It needs to reliably sync with that HDMI. You're going to see us kind of go through with that in the footage, and one of the cameras takes a little bit longer and kind of putzes when it wants to connect to the HDMI, and that ends up being the camera we don't end up keeping. Once we go through the HDMI process, then we are going to go ahead and test one other thing. We are going to check the sensors on both of these cameras. Now, to do this, it's a pretty simple test, and I highly encourage anytime you buy a camera to do this test. We're going to look for dead pixels, and the way you do it is you take two different photos. The first photo you take is a full whiteout photo, and the reason you're doing this is because you are looking for any dirt that may be on the sensor. Now, this being a point and shoot camera that doesn't have an interchangeable lens, to get dirt on the sensor would be pretty impressive, because it means Sony's quality control would have to be terrible, and Sony is a pretty reputable camera brand, so I'm not expecting any results here. The other important little test is to shoot a totally black photo, or at least set the settings so that you get a black photo. This is to test if there's any wonky pixels. You'll see them light up as bright white. Usually when a pixel goes bad, it'll either be totally black, which shows like dirt on the sensor, or it'll be an individual sensor, or it'll be an individual pixel that just doesn't know how to absorb colors anymore, and it gets fixed on to a specific color like red, blue, green, or white. So with all of that testing done, we then decided to take our winning sample camera and give it the good old test run. We did a short live stream with it, and it's a good thing we did, because we learned a lot of things about the camera during that time. The camera actually ended up dying during the live stream due to a combination of issues. The first is these cameras do tend to have an overheating issue. It comes when you are drawing too much power. There is a setting in the camera to rectify that. But the bigger problem was the fact that the power supply we were using was not delivering enough power to the camera to maintain the battery life of the camera while it was running. We weren't getting the full voltage to the battery, and as a result, it died while streaming. And this is the kind of stuff you only learn when you do it. So it's really important that you test the equipment like you plan on using it. It's like my elementary school music teacher would always say, the way you practice is the way you perform. And with all of that said, let us get the camera we are no longer going to use back to the good old folks at Amazon so we can get that sweet refund. And just like that, we have the new face cam up and running, and I think it looks pretty great. And I want to take this time to go over a couple of other tips that I've used throughout my years of being on YouTube to acquire gear that may help you if you're trying, if you don't have all the money up front. And what I'm about to say, not financial advice. Let's be clear about that. But one thing that I've consistently used, especially when I didn't have a ton of money coming in either from the regular job or from YouTube itself, is I've used the store credit cards, whether that be Amazon or Best Buy. Both of them offer 0% interest if you pay back any large purchase over 6 months, 12 months, even 24 months in the case of Best Buy. So be on the lookout for those, because that's been a way I've been able to consistently upgrade gear. And a camera like this, where it's $410 broken out over 6 months, is $66. And mentally speaking, I could be like, oh, if I literally work one extra shift once a month, I could then afford this camera for my setup. You shouldn't. What I want to warn against, though, is you shouldn't be taking out new credit cards if you're not. If you're already being charged interest on credit cards, if you're not paying back your credit cards already, they can be a slippery slope to a place you do not want to be. But if you have a good sense of your finances, and you know you're going to be able to pay things back, the store cards are a fantastic way to pay to get gear, and then be able to use that gear to make money and pay it back over time. And that's kind of been one of my favorite things to do, or one of my go-tos to do over and over again throughout my time being on YouTube. But guys, with all of that said, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I hope you liked it, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.